Hello, everyone. My name is Ana Martha Ayala, and I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. As a reminder, I do every video in English and Spanish, and the degree theory is based on modern Western astrology using the Placidus house system. So, in today's video, I wanted to discuss the astrological aspects for the month of February of 2026. This month starts off a new 37-year cycle with the conjunction of Saturn and Neptune happening on February 20th at the Aries point, which is 0 degrees of Aries. Now, I will be doing a separate video on that one because it's going to be a little bit long, both discussing the mundane level issues that can come up, as well as the ascendant by ascendant. So for the month of February, for the most part, we do have a lot of squares, and we just have maybe 2 or 3 good aspects. So it can turn out to be a bit of a difficult month. This year, I would say the first half of the year will be very, very touchy from what I have briefly looked at. It's not going to be an easy year, like I said in my January update. But anyway, towards the end of this month on February 27, things can get very difficult on a mundane level. So, eh, you know, hopefully not. Needless to say, things that I discuss, things that I tell you guys, is not that I wish, bad things to happen, obviously. Um, but you need to know if something does happen, why it happens, right? So anyway, the month starts off on February 1st with a full moon in Leo at 13 degrees, which is the degree of Aries. Now, this full moon has Mars conjunct Pluto, and it's in opposition to this full moon. So Pluto is in opposition to this full moon. And as you know, Leo represents presidents, right? It's the sign of presidents. On a personal level, someone may try to be a bit of a bully with you, Pluto, somebody in power or somebody that has power over you. And so if you are trying to express your opinion and they come down hard on you, then don't argue with the person. Don't, you can always try to be polite and express your views and always tell them, we can agree to disagree and then just try to move forward because this full moon, the degree of Aries is to fight, right? It could be argumentative, it could be very blunt, it has the energy of Aries. On February 3rd, we have Uranus going direct in Taurus at 27 degrees. I remember that Uranus has been retrograde since September 5th, which has started at Gemini at 1 degrees. So this is the last hurrah for Uranus and Taurus because shortly it's going to ingress in Gemini and it will stay there for the next 7 years. On February 5th, we have Mercury in Aquarius square Uranus in Taurus at 27 degrees. Now, Mercury, you guys know, is exalted in Aquarius, and now we have Uranus direct in Taurus. So this is a clash between Mercury and Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. So this can mean that you are going to have very innovative ideas, unusual ideas, unconventional, brilliant ideas that can come through, especially related to technology, right? Uranus or electricity, Uranus. It's also a very high energy day for your mind, Mercury. So try to relax, especially at night, so your mind is not racing with all of these things that keep popping up in your brain, right? Like, oh, I gotta, what if I do this or what if I do that or what, a business idea that you can have. Try to just take a nice hot bath before you go to bed and just try to relax so that your mind calms down a bit. On February 6th, Mercury enters Pisces. So Mercury rules, your mind, right? Your thoughts. So your thoughts may turn back to past memories because Pisces is all about memories. And it can be a little bit emotional, about the way you think, right? Can turn out to be a lot of emotions coming up. On February 8th, Venus squares Uranus. Venus is in Aquarius and Uranus is in Taurus at 27 degrees. So this is not a good day for a first date because the conversation will just be awkward. For anything love related or business related either. Remember that Uranus is the planet of surprises and unexpected things can happen, right? So things can go very different than the way you thought it was going to turn out. Also, for those of you that are single, if you happen to meet someone when Venus is squared Uranus or Uranus is squaring your natal Venus, know that this will not be a long-term, it won't turn out to be a long-term relationship. Um, You can just go out with the person, get to know them, have a nice lunch or dinner or coffee or whatever you young people do these days for dates. But, you know, I've only seen one person have a long-term relationship with a gentleman. Um, and the gentleman is Aquarius. So maybe that's why it's worked out, right? Uranus. But otherwise, it doesn't work out to be a long-term relationship. On February 10th, we have Venus enter Pisces. So now remember that Venus is exalted in Pisces. So we are headed for a very dreamy, romantic, daydreaming energy, right? On February 13th, Saturn enters Aries again, and it will stay there until April 12th of 2028. So try to remember going back to the period of April 7th of 1996 through February 27th of 1999. What themes came up in your life that popped up? Because chances are they will be coming back around. You know that Saturn is all about, duty, being disciplined, putting in the hard work, being careful, being strategic. Saturn rules strategy, especially when it comes to business, right? So also for anybody that has Saturn in Aries, this is a great time to start a workout routine as well as Aries rising because it's the first house. So anytime Saturn is in your first house, do an exercise program, build muscles. Saturn rules time, so the muscles will stay. This is an opportunity for you to like build muscle to protect your bones, right? On February 16th, we have Mercury in Pisces, trining Jupiter retrograde in Cancer at 16 degrees. So this is a great day to travel, to give a speech, to sign papers, to negotiate, to write, um, especially if it's about romance, travel, family, right? You use that Mercury. On February 17th, we have a new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius at 28 degrees and 56 minutes. Uranus will square this full moon. So this full moon can bring unwanted surprises all of a sudden. It's a very volatile energy. Um, it's a new beginning, but it's unsettling energy, especially for the fixed signs, right? With the end degrees. That's why I mentioned the degrees, 28 degrees, plus or minus 3 degrees for Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, and Scorpio. Those are the fixed signs. So if you have planets in those signs around 28 degrees, plus or minus, So we're talking about from 25 to maybe Pisces 1 or 2 degrees, then this will be affecting your birth chart, especially if you have them on the angles of the chart. On February 18th, the sun enters Pisces. So happy birthday to all of the Pisces out there. Lots of health. I wish you, obviously, lots of health, love, happiness, money too, because it helps. Um, so I hope you have a very nice birthday year. On February 20th, we have the famous Saturn conjunction with Neptune at the Aries point, like I said before. And again, I will do a separate video by rising sign. So remember that this conjunction happens about every 37 years. So this aspect will return again, not at the Aries point, in another sign and in another degree in 2061. So some of us may not be around to see the next conjunction. Um, so you can check out the video that I will do for ascendant by ascendant play. Okay, so how it affects your natal chart, or at least the house that it falls in. On February 22nd, we have Venus in Pisces and Jupiter retrograde in Cancer at 16 degrees. So this is a wonderful evening for romance. Um, February 14th is Valentine's Day here in the United States, but Cupid is still on duty on February 22nd. So if you're single, go out and mingle, look your best, and see who you may meet. And if you're married or dating somebody, make the best of it, right? The signs that will benefit the most from this energy are the water signs because Venus is in Pisces and Jupiter is in Cancer. So the water signs for you guys is Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And the earth signs have a sextile to this, which are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. On February 25th, Mercury goes retrograde in Pisces at 23 degrees to go direct March 28th at 8 degrees of Pisces. So I will be making a separate video on the Mercury retrograde because this time Mercury is going to go retrograde in the water signs. And it's all about emotions. So it's very different because we've had Mercury retrograde in fire and air, whatever. Now it's changing to water signs. On February 27th, we have Mars in Aquarius squaring Uranus in Taurus at 28 degrees. On a mundane level, this can be a very difficult aspect. Obviously, it could be related to military attacks. Uranus is explosions or earthquakes because it's in Taurus. Even plane crashes, Uranus. On a personal level, be careful with words and, with your words and your actions, not to instigate any arguments because it can escalate quickly. This is, like I said, the month would end on a very difficult aspect, and this is it. So from February 27th, be mindful of what you say and what you do. Also, on February 27th, we have Mercury retrograde conjunct Venus in Pisces at 22 degrees. Because Venus is in Pisces, and this can be in love and business, conversations can be looked upon like the way that you need to speak because Venus is in Pisces is classy, refined, cultured, um, tasteful, sweet, polished, a dreamy type of conversations. Even well, with business, you gotta keep it, to a certain level, but in love, there you go. You can have very nice conversations with your sweetheart. So with this, I end the aspects for February. Like I said, this year is gonna be a difficult year. It's Just one of those things that we need to live through. So anyway, if you have found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, send it to somebody else that it may help. And also, if you would like a natal chart reading with me, please send me an email to amaastrology@aol.com. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.